is blowing up, an alien swoops in from a UFO to kidnap children, because you are just so focused on how much every second of the special effects is costing the studio. You cannot see anything past it. That is what is commonly referred to as a job side effect. On Reddit, a few funeral directors have gathered to talk about their job side effect, which I will warn, it's very grim, it's morbid. I can see how funeral directors would not be able to function if they felt and reacted to death the same way a normal civilian does, so there would be no funeral homes if that were the case. It's natural to compartmentalize your job, and sometimes they've developed these very strange side effects because of them. One funeral director says on the forum, "Sometimes I find myself accidentally figuring out mixtures for living people, or thinking about how well they would embalm." Side note, a mixture refers to the customized blend of embalming fluids, and each time it's unique to the body based on the weight, time of death, tissue condition, because sometimes you want to add a little more of this or a little more of that to try and restore some firmness or color to somebody. Or other times, you're trying to figure out the best mixture for keeping the tissues from dehydrating. You want the deceased to look as, quote, healthy as possible. That's what they say, so their loved ones can pay their respects. Side note, that includes putting Vaseline on eyelids, as that helps with making sure they don't look dry. And oftentimes, the embalming mixture is this very orangey color because apparently that gives the healthier glow. That's how they're describing it. Someone else agrees, commenting, "Sometimes I decide how I would set people's features when I'm talking to them, and then I don't realize it." Embalmers have to set the features and arrange facial muscles into restful or natural expressions, and that's a big part of the job. And a very big side effect, a lot of the funeral directors are saying, honestly, it's not even the embalming process, which is, one of the more technical things. A big side effect is that you learn very specific ways to deal with human grief. And it's done in a way where you have to compartmentalize. Like, I know some people are going to be like, "Oh my God, these funeral directors are so insensitive," but you would not be able to do this job and help these families if you felt every little pain that everybody felt.
Yeah, on a daily, hourly basis.
I mean, a lot of busy funeral homes, they have at least one funeral a day. There's no way that you can sit there and really soak in all these feelings. That would be just too much emotional trauma. Like, you would never make it.
Yeah.
One funeral director online states, I mean, at the end of the day, though, it is a business. It's not a social service. It's a lot to coordinate. And you have to learn a lot of these small talk lingos. We like to call it a small dark wedding, because you pay for the production. People shouldn't be surprised because it's supposed to be a memorable event, and memorable events are expensive. And so you learn these little ways of talking to clients. For example, you learn very early on not to say things like good morning, good night, happy holidays when you pick up the phone, or when you hang up the phone, or when you say hi or bye to any customers who walk in. Additionally, phrases in their experience that don't do well, they say they cringe every time they hear people coming to other loved ones' funerals and saying this to the grieving families. It typically consists of, "They're in a better place now." They say, "Don't say that one." Or, "At least they're no longer in pain." Or, "I understand." And interestingly enough, one of the funeral directors writes on Reddit, the words, "I'm sorry?" Yeah, unless you're apologizing for something you've done, don't say those words. Especially if you're a funeral director too.
So did they say what are you supposed to say?
Just, "Hello.
Oh.
We're here for you if you need anything." And it's a little strange. And they've seen so many eulogies. They've seen so many people passing by. They kind of have an understanding of how things work. And it's very, very rare that a eulogy is to go viral, especially when it's not dedicated to a politician or a celebrity that's passed. I don't think I can name off the top of my head a eulogy that's gone viral in recent years or any years, except for this one. This eulogy is given for the joint funeral for a couple by the name of Kristen and James Brock. Both of them were killed in their sleep, and the killer is still on the loose when this joint funeral takes place. People are psychoanalyzing everything about this eulogy. Even body language experts are going on mainstream media, news platforms, to talk about the things that they're getting from the delivery of this eulogy. I mean, they say, quote, "We're not seeing these short gasps of breath, you know? They're never touching their face. They're not wiping away the tears because there aren't any.
We're not seeing upheavals of emotion. We're not seeing those gasps of breath.
And throughout the entire eulogy, their tone stays strong, just burning right through this, talking fairly quickly. Seems like they're trying to get to the part where, it's almost like they're trying to get to the part where they talk about themselves again. There are no pauses to gather themselves or anything of that sort. Other netizens are more focused on what's being said. They get up there, and this person making a heartfelt eulogy at the funeral states, "This isn't going to be easy, but bear with me because I stutter a lot. I just wanted to say goodbye since we never got the chance to. I was so used to you guys always being here that I never once thought to imagine y'all not being here."
God damn, bro. R.I.P.
"Your heart will finally be healed in heaven, and neither of y'all will be in pain anymore. Although that gives me so much comfort, your fight is not supposed to end here. Thank you for all the life lessons you taught me. You were such a beautiful soul with so much gratitude. We can't always choose the music life plays for us, but you can choose how we dance to it. Kristen Brock was always dancing, and they will save a seat for me in heaven, like they saved a seat for me in this very church."
When someone tries to tell you anything, no matter how important it could be, just listen, because you never know when it's somebody's time to go. You could say goodnight and wake up a few hours just to find out they aren't there, despite their joy and their love. So just listen.
And never take a hug or anyone or anything for granted, and love with all that you have in you. And lastly, my take of not taking people for granted, I want to thank my family, also known as my cat family, my grandparents, my siblings, for helping me through my worst nightmare.
And last but not least, I want to thank Tasha, Bree, Nate, Lane, Kimberly Hayes, Kim Bowling, Katie, and most of all, my father, Angie, and Ben for making such a big difference. I love you guys. I'm sorry.
A loved one who was present at the funeral is sitting front row, states, "That was weird, because not a single tear was shed. So the entire time that this person is up there, the eulogy is said in a shaky voice as if they're crying, but
That's weird. That's suspicious.
she's sitting there saying, I didn't see a single tear." And she says, quote, "What is the voice that they're doing? That sounds like crying, but I don't see a tear. No tissues, never wiping the face, never getting rid of tear marks. Eyes are not red, no snot. They're not crying." The family member in the first row states, "It was one of the weirdest things that I have ever witnessed." But not even just that. Apparently, this person gets off the podium and goes one by one, greeting the loved ones of the deceased and giving them each hugs and saying, "I'm sorry." And that brings us to the question, why is 17-year-old Sarah Patrick apologizing to everyone when her mother and her stepfather were killed that night, while she and her little sister...
Wait. Her parents are dead. So who did she... What was she talking about when she was like, "Oh, I want to thank my parents"? Wait.
sister
Maybe I'm just being stupid. Hold on.
were asleep in the same house? And why will she be arrested months later after this funeral for killing the two of them
Oh, shit. Okay.
and posting TikToks about it?
Yo, like, comment, subscribe, share, put on bell notifications for upcoming YouTube. Let's get it. Rotten Mango.
We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the SAFE Project, a national nonprofit dedicated to building collaboration to address the addiction fatality epidemic and prevent overdoses. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team, and we'd also like to thank you guys for your continued support. As always, full show notes are available at rottenmangopodcast.com. There are brief mentions of illegal substance abuse, so please watch with your own discretion. Today's case is currently ongoing, so if there's any new developments, we will do our best to keep you updated in the pinned comment, but this is the information that we know up to the date of publishing. All opinions, speculations, allegations are all representative of netizen sentiment and not my own. I'm just here to present the publicly available details and a lot of the online discourse that's happening surrounding this case so that you guys can come to your own conclusion. With that being said, someone has been arrested, they have been charged, they have not been tried, and they are maintaining their innocence. So everybody is innocent until proven guilty. That is how it works in the justice system. So with that being said, let's get started. There is an interview room in a police station that is just not like the others. Each police station, from what we have seen so far by all of the interrogation footage, it varies. Some police stations have standard interrogation rooms with table, chairs, a board of some sort. Other police stations, they like psychological warfare. I don't know who came up with these rooms. They'll have clocks that are broken on the wall, or a tiny little space where the subject is going to start feeling cornered after a long time because they're blocked from the exit by two buff cops just sitting on the chair next to each other playing good cop, bad cop. This room, not like the others. In fact, it's actually kind of cozy. It's really off-putting. You've got the entire police station, you've got the desks of the officers, you've got the interrogation rooms, you've got the little jail cells, and then you have what looks to be a random living room in the middle of the police station, but it's not a break room for the cops. It's an interrogation room. Well, an interview room. There's
like
an
open seating area?
No, it's closed.
Oh.
But it's like a living room. You open the door, it looks like a quaint little living room with armchairs, usually a rug, lots of artwork, pastel.
What? That's a first for me to see this, hear it.
Colors. The lighting is less harsh. It's not like that bright fluorescent light that you see in police stations. It's almost like that warm, no overhead lamp type of light.
Fascinating.
Don't upload your videos to YouTube. Upload to Restream, where we will live stream it to YouTube
and it's because that is where you bring in children.
Oh.
You bring them in and you have very specific investigators who are adept at asking these kids the right questions without leading them to figure out.
Okay, I understand now. Okay. This is for kids. Okay.
What they saw and what they know. February 20th, 2025, police get a phone call, and it is from 16-year-old Sarah Patrick, who is stating that her 41-year-old mother, Kristen Brock, and her stepfather, 45-year-old James Brock, are dead. This 911 call has yet to be released, by the way, but she is effectively stating that her little 5-year-old half-sister, let's call her Bella, she is the child of Kristen and James Brock. And Sarah Patrick is only Kristen Brock's child. So that's her stepdad, and this is her half-sister. Her 5-year-old half-sister, Bella, comes into the room, and she's like, you need to call the police. Like, something happened to mommy, something happened to daddy. She calls the police, and it's too late. The couple had been shot 5 times in their bed in the house that all 4 of them had just been sleeping in. This is first thing in the morning. Not only did this 5-year-old little girl find them, but she heard the gunshots too. And it's interesting because the very first thing that the police find a bit fascinating when they're talking to this little 5-year-old girl and later when they talk to 16-year-old Sarah Patrick is how the hell did the little 5-year-old girl hear the gunshots, but 16-year-old Sarah slept through them all? She claims she didn't hear a single gunshot go off in this little house. There are certain questions I think that you just can't really ask people. I mean, maybe you can if you're an investigator. I just feel like it's a thing that you learn as a kid. When you're a kid, you ask the first thing that pops up in your mind, and then your parents scold you and you're like, you're not allowed to ask people that. You can't ask someone why their feet are smelly. Like, that's rude. Come sit down. There are lists of questions that technically feel harmless. It technically feels like you just want to know. For example, what percentage of your thoughts do you think are actually original versus recycled from things you've heard or read? It's like technically harmless, but it just feels kind of inappropriate. That feels a little like you're attacking me. Or if you had to assign a monetary value to an hour of your time based on what you actually accomplish, what would it be? Or do you think your face would look better or worse if it were perfectly symmetrical? And then you have the list of typical ones. When are you due? Are you pregnant? Have you gained weight? Do you still have a thing against smiling more frequently? Are you really going to eat all of that? Those are things that you're technically not supposed to ask, even if you genuinely have a curiosity that means no malice. Like, you're not coming from a bad place. And there are a lot of questions that people apparently wanted to ask Sarah Patrick on TikTok. Sarah Patrick reaches out to a TikToker by the name of Allegedly Reportedly, and she DMs her asking her to, quote, search up the Brock case. It's kind of a straightforward, contextless, maybe even cryptic message. Allegedly Reportedly responds to her, and Sarah keeps messaging her, giving her more information about the case. Kristen and James Brock, they're my parents, and
Okay, real quick, it kind of sounds like she wants to be found out, but I could be mistaken. We will see.
out of nowhere, a random Thursday night in February, someone came in my house with me and my 5-year-old sister, shot my parents, brutally leaving them for me and my little sister to wake up to. Well, technically it was a Wednesday night because I found them on Thursday morning on February 20th, 2025. Allegedly Reportedly responds to her, telling her, I am so sorry. I cannot imagine. I will absolutely research and cover their case. Please, please take care of you always. She makes a video on it, and Sarah comments, thank you for spreading awareness. Sarah's very active in the comment section, which makes sense, but one person writes, this is a random netizen. From an investigative standpoint, it would seem that it was someone who knew them, hoping for answers and swift justice. Sarah likes the comment and responds, most definitely was, since they knew the house.
Hmm?
She's saying, yeah, I mean, whoever did this to my mom and my stepdad, they knew them because they knew the layout of the house. They knew where they were sleeping. So yeah, I agree with you, commenter. Like, they knew my parents. At this point, nothing is particularly making you question anything of any sort. There's no, ooh, I probably shouldn't be thinking this question, or even let alone asking it in the comment section. At face value, at this point, everything seems normal, even on Sarah's dad's Facebook account. So it gets a little bit confusing, but this is Sarah's biological dad. He and Kristen Brock, one of the deceased, shared 2 children together, Sarah being one of them. They've been long divorced. That is why Kristen has now married James, Sarah's stepdad. So he's even posting like, anything will help. Please keep sharing this case because we need to find the killer or killers. They're still out there. To which someone comments, I still can't believe no clues, no prints, feet, hair, anything. I mean, by this point, months have passed. The funeral has passed. Months have gone by. No arrests have been made. The police have been pretty tight-lipped about everything. Sarah is on TikTok reaching out to true crime content creators because she's like, no one is talking about the case and the police are not going to get tips if no one even knows that this happened. I live in a small town in Georgia, like 45 minutes west of Atlanta. I don't know what to do. No one's talking about it. Sarah takes her dad's Facebook account to comment back. It's Sarah, by the way. I know, it's hard to believe it, and there's got to be something. Hopefully the police are just not telling us anything for our own sake. It seems like she's very involved online of being the push of getting this case out there, which again, seems very natural. Kristen's father has come out to say, so this is the mom's dad, the deceased dad. This is Sarah's maternal grandpa. He says, this is just so horrendous. You just can't imagine someone would come in and just take the life of 2 good people. And I want answers. What's going on? And clearly the cops, they want answers too. I mean, it's not the most common occurrence that a police officer will attend a funeral that's associated with a case that they're working on. It's not unheard of. Usually it happens when you're dealing with organized crime. A lot of former like mob bosses, organized crime families, they've had a lot of undercover law enforcement show up at funerals of people that are involved in the enterprise, if you will, to study the network, the food chain. Sometimes undercover investigators will show up to victims' funerals if the killer hasn't been caught yet. But it's not protocol. It's not necessarily required, but it does happen. And they're watching just for anything strange. They're also lurking on social media, trying to see if anything feels off. Clearly, Sarah's biological dad, the ex-husband, a usual first person of interest, biological father of 2 of Kristen's kids, contentious divorce battle, custody battle. He writes on Facebook, it's not fair.
When did he write this?
This
Years
is like
ago?
a month after
Oh, okay.
the murders. It's not fair that they're not here. It's not fair for the kids. It's not fair for the families. I'm sick of waiting for answers. I can't wait for them to catch the assholes that did this. Please excuse my language, but I'm angry. He posts a blurry sonogram photo where he writes, exactly 17 years ago, it was the happiest news. Me and Kristen received the happiest news of our lives. And it says February 21st, 2028. And that was a sonogram of baby Sarah Patrick. And he's saying almost exactly 17 years from the date that this sonogram, the doctor's appointment, happened, she was murdered. And that was like the best day of my life and the worst day of my life. He's saying she was taken away the exact same day. I was just going through the baby pictures and noticed this. And other than that, it doesn't appear that he was acting suspiciously or strangely after the murders. The police kind of rule him out. However, they do notice that something odd occurs at the funeral. From a recording of a eulogy given by Sarah Patrick, the daughter of Kristen and the stepdaughter of James. The eulogy itself starts off, well, I don't want to say typical, but it's like what you expect. Sarah states, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah and I'm Kristen Brock's daughter and James Brock's stepdaughter.
Although there's nothing we can do to bring them back, we still have control over how we treat people with us today. Therefore, when someone tries to tell you anything, no matter how important it could be, just listen, because you never know when it's somebody's time to go. You can say goodnight and wake up a few hours just to find out they aren't there.
There's some interesting parts to the eulogy, like when she states, as for my mother, everything we went through does not define what kind of person or what kind of mother you were. You were a beautiful, kind soul with so much.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to put the words somewhere, but there's pictures coming up and I don't want it to block the view, so.
Gratitude. And it just makes the police kind of tilt their head.
You're saying like even during that time when that's happening, the cops are already getting some kind of vibes or being alerted?
Yeah, because the police, it seems like the police are on the same page as a lot of people on the internet. And a lot of people on the internet didn't want to ask the questions because they didn't want to be perceived as being rude. But it's just a little weird of a eulogy. What does it mean? Like, regardless of everything we went through, it doesn't define what kind of person or what kind of mother you are. Also, in the eulogy, she's not breaking down in tears. She sounds like she's crying, like she's choked up, but she's not crying. She's not wiping away tears. She never has to collect herself or take a breath to catch her breath. It's just slightly weird. And then she has this whole like thank you list, like an Oscars speech at the very end where
Like,
people
I'm
are like,
sorry.
what's happening? And then her very last two words are, I'm sorry.
I love you guys, I'm sorry.
And so people thought, ooh, it's just a little weird. But again, people grieve differently. So it would be inappropriate to ask, hey, what are you sorry for? Hey, why did you list off all these thank yous to these random people? Hey, why are you wearing a light blue baby doll dress at a funeral? I mean, maybe the deceased didn't want all black at their funeral. I know that's been a thing recently where people don't want grim colors for the celebration of their lives, but people thought it was weird. But it's, again, one of those questions that you just don't ask. You don't ask someone how much money they make over the dinner table, and you don't ask someone why they said I'm sorry at the end of a eulogy. And you also don't ask them, how could you not hear the 5 gunshots if you were in the house? There's a TikTok video with a link to a GoFundMe where you hear everybody singing happy birthday, and it sounds slightly sad and pretty eerie. The words on the screen read, don't ever take your family for granted. That voice you once thought was annoying is what you may end up falling asleep to every night. And the only way you can hear it again is our video. It's not good enough. I just want my mama.
Get detailed feedback on your story with Pro Writing Aid. Receive actionable insights on your plot, characters, settings, and more. Plus,
And it's Sarah Grace posting collage photos of memories with her mom and her stepdad. Another TikTok video shows her with mascara running down her cheeks. Like, it's pretty dramatic, almost like you.
Bro, that shit looks so fake. Bro, that looks like she cried before she pressed record, bro. Like, that looks like she forced it.
would imagine like those animes when people cry and then you see the mascara running down, almost like liquid coming down, and you see the tear streaks. The caption reads, "Please send prayers for healing and for a break from everything. I'm so tired. I should probably delete this later." And because a lot
It looks like she's doing this for clout, but I don't know.
A lot of people who found Sarah Grace through allegedly, reportedly, or through some of these TikTok accounts that are reporting on her parents' case, they want to ask, but they also don't want to ask. And a lot of people wrote this in hindsight. They're like, hey, when this was all going down on TikTok and she was actively posting TikToks, I really wanted to ask, why are you filming yourself crying? But I didn't, because I felt like that was rude to ask like the grieving daughter of someone who was murdered, but it just felt weird. Another one is her crying in a dark room with very puffy eyes, and the words on the screen are, "What do you mean I can't call my mom?" And then another one that says, "I sleep so I can see you." Or another caption that reads, "But at nighttime, when there's nothing to do and the house is empty, I always think about how much I needed them." And it's just collage photos of her typically crying, or there's one of her just like hugging her mom's old t-shirt, and it always has a trending audio with these like slideshow words of the collage involved. Or she uses the trend, "They don't know it yet, but a year from now, me and my 5-year-old sister would find them wrongfully shot dead in our home, and they won't get to watch me graduate high school, see me walk down the aisle, or even say goodbye." The caption reads, "I miss you guys. Save a seat."
That's weird for real. They don't know it yet, but a year from now. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
In heaven for me. Or others are just pictures of her mom and stepdad with words that say, "I just want to go home. I feel so homesick and I miss them so much. I can't stand the fact that I can't see them anymore. This sucks more than anything possible. I feel like I'm in a horror movie that never ends, and on top of everything, I still have no answers. I'm so confused on how someone could have done this, and even more confused on why them. Why? Just why? How could they?"
So everything is words, just words on the screen. She's never talking. Though.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's like a few, it does get weird because at some point she does transition into posting videos that are not about the crime. I mean, this is like months. She doesn't get arrested until July. This happens in February. So for months, she's posting variations of this. And then I think there were like one or two where she's lip syncing to words, and she seems like every other 17-year-old on TikTok. But majority of her posts were these little collages, or they were videos with the trending audios and then some words on the screen.
Was she getting a lot of attention from these posts? Like, are they going all viral?
They actually went viral after her arrest. And then they got taken down. And then an account reposted them, but you won't see like a lot of the original comments.
Her account's gone, or those posts? Okay.
Yeah. And she will post them writing things like, "I'll never forget her last speaking with me. She came into my room," she's referring to her mom, "when I was in bed watching a show, and she told me goodnight in this deep voice and was acting silly. I should have hugged her. And when James talked to me last, he told me I love you and goodnight through the door. It tears me apart that I didn't open that door and give him a hug. I need my mom more than ever now, and I know that I can't get closure because nothing will bring them back. If you know something, please speak up and help me and my family heal. It hits me when I see my 5-year-old sister crying for her mommy and daddy. I'm sick of waiting for answers. I can't wait for them to catch the assholes who did this." One of the TikToks that she posts.
But aren't you the asshole who did it? Because, I'm sorry for pausing, but because your sister heard the 5 shots. You claimed you were in a deep ass sleeping coma and didn't hear shit, which doesn't make sense. It does not make sense at all. Put her under the jail.
This is the one where a lot of people wanted to ask a question, but they said that they didn't want to ask the question because they didn't want to be perceived as insensitive or rude, or they didn't want to make it seem like, but it was a genuine question that I think a lot of people had. The first picture of the slideshow is her posing in a mirror selfie. She's wearing sweatpants, a cropped corset looking shirt. She's got maybe like half of her midriff out. It's not like particularly salacious. I'm not trying to be like, oh my gosh, it was so scandalous. I think she dresses like anybody else on TikTok, but it's of her posing in front of the mirror. She's got all of her makeup on and she looks like she's about to go out. The words on the picture read, "You're just thinking it's a small thing that happened." So this is another trend. It's like you write this and then you show all the things that happened, and it's not a small thing that happened. It actually has like catastrophic consequences in your life. It's like a canon event. Which is a trend, but people thought it was kind of weird that she's referring to her mom being murdered in the house that she was also asleep in as like, you just think it's a small thing that happened. I mean, maybe she's just misusing the trend, which is maybe odd at best. But it's weird that the very first picture of her is with her makeup on and looking relatively put together, and then the rest are just slideshows of her bawling. Some people are saying, well, that's the point of the trend. You're supposed to show yourself normal, and then as the trauma progresses, and that's the trend. Others are saying it's still kind of weird that she's doing these trends, but then others were arguing, well, maybe she's doing those trends because she wants attention on her mom's case to get it solved. So there was a lot of back and forth, but a lot of people just thought it was maybe one too many crying videos, but they didn't feel like they were in the place to judge, which I agree. Another strange thing that people had questions about is there was someone commenting asking Sarah, what was the weapon? Water gun emoji or knife emoji or question?
Oh my god. Somebody really asked somebody asked her what was the weapon, bro. Oh my god.
Mark, meaning
That's crazy.
like what was the murder weapon? And Sarah just comments back, water gun emoji. Some people thought that was very weird. It's also been reported that whenever someone commented that they were sorry for her loss, she would just respond, don't be. Now, this is pretty contentious. People are like, yeah, well, that's exactly what I would say too. Like, you don't have to be sorry. You don't have to like ruin your day, but I'm just trying to tell you this information. Others are saying it just feels weird. Like, what do you mean don't be? It's just something nice that people are saying. Instead of saying thank you or like, yes, please keep a lookout on the case, you say don't be. I mean, it gets to the point where eventually one body language expert states that Sarah seems too much in her element when she's creating these crying TikToks. He says, if you and I have tears, we wipe them away. That's what normal people do.
She doesn't. She wants you to see what she's going through. That's why she's got the mascara
She's
on and
also-
letting that leak down as well.
Maybe it's harsh, maybe it's accurate, I don't know. They also point out that her picture that she takes and posts on her way to her parents' funeral. So she's like taking a selfie in the car on the way to the funeral, and she's like, I can't believe this. I can't believe I'm going to the funeral right now. Her eyes aren't red. This is what the body language expert states. Her muscles are tense in the way, her muscles are tense, but they're not.
No, yeah, if you like look at it for real, like that's just like a fake face, bro. Like, bro, if you were like actually like tearing up, crying, you wouldn't be able to post anything. Like nothing at all. Nothing at all. And it's like you're not crying, your eyes are not red, you're not snotted, nothing. You just ugh, get her ass.
Not tense in the way that someone who's actually grieving looks. So a lot of, when you're grieving, there's a lot of tension in the mouth area, in the lips. They get downturned, there's pressure. It's almost like you're holding it in your jaw. And then it's like loose, but kind of tense at the outer corners of your eyes. She, according to him, does not appear to be in true grief. That's what he believes just looking at that selfie. I mean, take that as you will. I always take body language experts with like all the salt grains in the ocean.
But these are all hindsight, right? This body
Yeah.
language. Okay.
So no one is saying it at the time because
Right.
those would be questions that you really just cannot ask.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think body language experts are interesting. I think it's fascinating. And I do think that there is a lot of truth to it in the sense of, I'm sure a lot of humans do hold tension in specific areas when they have certain emotions, because that's how we learn to express ourselves. And we all kind of adapt to each other's facial expressions. But people's mannerisms are so unique and personal, and people could have different abilities with moving their facial structures. It's just, there's too much room for error.
Yeah.
But I digress. Some of the bigger questions in this case, though, even one of James's family members states this. What strikes me as weird is she didn't seem afraid in any of her TikToks. Killer is still out there. You were in the house When your mom
That is
and your
true.
stepdad were shot and killed, killers are still out there. Not once did she post, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm afraid. There's a killer on the loose and the town needs to be afraid. We don't know what they're going to do. We don't know who these people are. We don't know what they're capable of. What are the police doing? There is not much fear. It's more so, I can't wait for them to catch these assholes. Please help me catch them. She also states this is James's niece, so the stepdad's niece. She has no blood relation to Sarah Patrick. And she says,
she lost her mom. She deserves to be sad, but the weird TikToks just kept getting more weird. So, I mean, what are you supposed to...
Okay, if there's one AI site builder you need to meet, it's this dope tech from Wix. Now, this whole flow is a...
It's very... I don't know what to say about it. I mean...
Sarah comments on another TikTok and she says, I'm Sarah. So she's referring to one of the true crime creators talking about her. And she's like, when they said that I'm awake, I actually went to bed around 12 p.m. I think she means 12 a.m. that night as the latest. And I first heard the alarm no more than like 10, 20 minutes before I went to bed. So she heard this like alarm go off in the primary bedroom. This is James Brock's LVAD machine. He's got a heart machine that he's always plugged into because he has really bad heart problems. He had open heart surgery multiple times. He was waiting for a heart transplant. And that alarm will go off for all sorts of things. It does seem like that alarm is slightly sensitive from what I can see online because you have to be because, I mean, he could literally die from his heart not working properly and pumping blood. It's a machine that helps his heart pump blood.
Wow.
So if that stops...
Yeah.
he will pass. So there's alarms that are embedded on this machine. And she said that she heard the alarm go off maybe like 10, 20 minutes before she fell asleep. And she kind of mentions it's like a common occurrence. It goes off. They have to fix whatever's wrong with it. Sometimes it could be like it's administrative. Sometimes it's not a big deal. If it is a big deal, then the alarm gets louder. You go to the hospital. She thought it was just like a normal day. She goes to bed. She says, I was already really tired and I wasn't hardly even able to hear it due to my TV and my sister's TV and my heater. Plus, my door was barely cracked open when I went to bed. So she's saying she went to sleep super early, heard the alarm go off, and then just knocked out, didn't hear anything else until she was woken up by her 5-year-old sister who was like, oh my gosh, you have to call the police. So people, they don't ask, but they kind of want to ask, how did you not hear the 5 gunshots?
What time was the shot?
We don't know.
Okay. What time was she woken up?
This was like 8 in the morning, 7 in the morning.
Wow. Okay.
Now, what's interesting is that these LVAD machines, I was looking into it, and the initial alarm that goes off, it's at around 85 decibels, which to put that into perspective, it's like a very loud garbage disposal in operation if you've got like watermelon rinds in there. Eat a watermelon, put it in the garbage disposal, turn it on, it's like that whirring sound. Or it sounds like a lawnmower from several feet away, like those handheld lawnmowers. Or it's louder than a normal conversation. Maybe screaming, but it's not like a blaring siren. It's not like the fire alarm in an apartment complex is going off on a Saturday morning. It's not that loud. If you're in the same room, it would be impossible to sleep through it. It will wake up deep sleepers. That's the whole point. It's loud and at a frequency that it will cause ringing in the ears if you're listening to it for prolonged periods in the same room. It's uncomfortable because that's the whole point. If you hear it go off from maybe a room away, it's probably comparable to a typical TV volume when you're inside the room. So let's say you're sitting in the room and you're watching TV. It's going to sound that same volume when the alarm goes off in the next room.
So, okay. So if her TV and her little sister's TV was still on, that would have, like, kind of went over it, wouldn't it? Like, you would be able to hear that. Yeah.
She says that she hears the LVAD machine before she falls asleep, but she doesn't hear a gunshot. Or the second, or the third, fourth, fifth. A gunshot, especially fired indoors, is going to be around 160 decibels, depending on the gun, give or take, in the house. But that would be like standing next to a jet engine at takeoff. or if multiple jackhammers were operating simultaneously in your kitchen, in your house at the same time. A single jackhammer is around 110 decibels. This is 160. This is much louder, and it's even louder indoors because it's a confined space with lots of walls, floors, ceilings that reflect sound waves back through the rooms. According to gun experts, they say it's virtually impossible. And when you look up the house that they live in, it's a 2,000 square foot house. It's not a Jeff Bezos mansion with like 25 different levels and a guest house for the chief of staff. This is a very normal house. It's 2,000 square feet. And she says she doesn't hear any of them. One gunshot.
They fucking lied. That's what that was. You wouldn't be able to hear anything.
Is 100 times louder than a smoke alarm, 1,000 times louder than a vacuum cleaner. The vibrations are so strong that it can rattle the windows. If there are neighbors within a few hundred feet of the property, which there weren't, but if there were, most likely they would have heard it as well. In fact, depending on how close you are, you could experience pretty severe discomfort in your ears for at least a few hours, if not the entire day afterwards. The only reason you would not hear this, experts theorize, is 3 things: severe pre-existing hard of hearing, unconsciousness, or extreme intoxication or heavy sedation. That's it. That would be the only way. There are a few other points of contention that happen in hindsight, like the fact that Sarah writes in her DM to the true crime creator. I think it would be a really big hit because the only person who posted about it made it as the first image you see when you Google their names. Plus, I can give you intel, I can't give you anything that could break the case. That's what the cops told me. A lot of people feel like, there's a lot of debates on the wording of this. I would say that majority of netizens think it's crazy. It seems like she wants to get TikTok famous. She's trying to tell everyone it's going to be a big case. It's going to be a big hit.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it seems like you're looking for clout.
Going to go viral. We're going to be on trending. And it just seems weird to be the daughter of someone who was found brutally murdered in the same house. However, on the flip side, I feel like because I get a lot of emails of people that are requesting that we cover the case, and the Rotten Mango team goes through it. And I think that sometimes people are trying to throw out anything to get your attention. And whether they think you're chasing views or whether they think that you're doing this or that, it maybe is like, here's an incentive for you to talk about it. Like, just here's everything I can think of for you to talk about it. I can give you like special information that nobody else has. Like, you're probably going to get views. Like, it could be a desperate attempt to get people to talk about it because she wants the case solved. That's been a very big debate from what I can see, and I'd be interested to know your thoughts. Other points of contention are the fact that even at the funeral, she is wearing a light blue dress that some people felt was not appropriate. To be fair, it doesn't seem like everybody was adhering to this like black only rule, but one comment reads, "It looks like she purposely chose a dress that makes her appear younger and innocent." I will say the dress is it's like a baby doll dress, and those are trending again. So I don't know if it just happens to be on par with the trends. I don't know if it was more psychological than that, if she wants to appear younger. I'm not entirely sure. But it is, some people think, inappropriate, even in its color for this funeral. In July of 2025, the sheriff's office in Carroll County, Georgia, held a press conference.
Today, we can confirm that an arrest has been made in the case. Kristen Brock's 17-year-old daughter, Sarah Grace Patrick, has been taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault in connection with the deaths of her mother and her stepfather.
The Carrollton Police Department are being quite vague, which is normal for the police. But let me tell you, when I say this case is very vague, it's so vague. They keep referencing the idea that they have a mountain of evidence. We don't know anything about said mountain of evidence. Sarah did not confess. Sarah was not even arrested. Her family is a little particular about the wording of this, but a lot of news media reports are saying that she turned herself in, which almost has an insinuation of guilt attached to it. Like, she turned herself in. She's saying, hey, I did it. I want to confess. I'm coming to the police myself. Her dad is saying that's not at all what happened. We followed the rules. The police were like, hey, we're just going to create warrants for your arrest. So unless you come here tomorrow in the morning, we're going to bring the marshal's office to you. We're bringing the U.S. Marshals to you to arrest you, and it's going to be a big whole thing. So he's saying it's not that Sarah turned herself in. She was told, like, you got to come in, and she was just following the rules. I think that they're very particular about one insinuates guilt.
Got it. So that's the dad, right?
Yes, the biological dad.
Right. And so is he supporting Sarah, or?
He thinks that Sarah is completely innocent. He states that the investigators conducted a 4-hour interrogation.
What? Okay, maybe he does not know. Maybe he does not know.
Of Sarah, which he states that he didn't even approve of. He said that the investigators kept asking him, like, hey, do what you need to do. If you need to go out, get a phone call. If you need to go out, get a drink. If you need to go out, take a smoke, go be my guest. So he goes out, he takes a smoke break, comes back in, and the officers are interrogating his minor child without him being present, which he says is crazy. But he lets the conversation continue for about 4 hours because they kept saying that Sarah was giving a witness impact statement. So they were pretending to be very friendly until that 4-hour mark hits, and he says that they just start slamming down photos, crime scene photos, of Kristen and James with gunshot wounds laying in their bed.
At the end of it, they started throwing pictures of her parents at us, her stepdad and her mom, deceased with gunshot wounds.
That were taken by crime scene techs when they came to the scene.
So I stopped the interview and told them that we were not going to talk no more, and they let us go. I asked them if they were arresting her, and they said no.
2 hours later, we get a call saying I have to turn her in by 10 o'clock in the morning or else they would send out the U.S. Marshals. He says he's upset because they just followed the rules. Sarah did not turn herself in. A lot of people actually support Sarah, and I would say a lot of people that know Sarah support Sarah. However, the growing number of people that either call into question her motive or call into question her culpability in its entirety, it's growing online. Every day, the Facebook page is growing. It's a private Facebook page. I stand with Sarah Grace Patrick. Every day, there's more threads on Reddit. Every day, there's more comments on TikTok that seem to be like, well, I don't know. Maybe she's not guilty. One of the best pieces of financial advice when I was just starting out in the world, I think I was like 18 at the time, was time in the market beats timing the market. That means steady investing and compound interest versus risky day trading and trying to time the stock market. Those don't even compare. Time in the market beats timing the market every single time. Or at least in my opinion, build an expert financial portfolio to make sure you're investing wisely and not wildly with Acorns. Acorns is the financial wellness app that helps you invest for your future, save for tomorrow, and spend smarter today. They make it easy to start doing more with your money. In fact, you can start automatically investing with just your spare change. You don't need to be a finance whiz or like a big shot on Wall Street or a finance bro. Everyone can invest regardless of their financial background as long as they just start. Start and continue your own financial journey with ease. Sign up now and Acorns will boost your new account with a $5 bonus investment. Join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $25 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/rotten or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsement compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 2 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorn Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/rotten. It's very interesting. A family friend of Sarah's says her father walked in with his daughter in that police station not knowing what lied ahead for his child. She never confessed anything. She was working with detectives to find the people who murdered her mom and stepdad. She trusted them because that is who she is. And all these people talking about her apology at the funeral service, saying I'm sorry at the end as an admission of guilt, as some sort of confession. That was very normal for Sarah. She would apologize over everything, even if it wasn't her fault. Sarah's dad says in an interview,
You can sneeze on my daughter and she'll tell you I'm sorry. You know, she says I'm sorry to everything. Not just to the eulogy, you know? Really, I mean, you could step on her toe and she'll tell you she's sorry she was in the way. That's just the type of girl she is.
Others also comment, When she was probably saying, I'm sorry to James Brock's family, some people are saying maybe she didn't mean it as like, I'm sorry that I killed him, but more so like, I'm sorry that you're going through a loss. Because we don't see any reports that she was saying it to people that were related to her mom. So maybe it would, I don't know if that changes things, if she was going to everyone that knew her mom and was like, hey, I'm sorry. Because that would be a little strange of, no, we should be saying that to you if anyone's saying it. But perhaps she was saying it to James Brock's family because she just felt sorry for their loss. I don't know. It's a little unclear with that one. I don't think saying I'm sorry is an admission of guilt. The investigator on the case later tells a reporter, it seemed odd. It was more like a speech. And at the end she said, I'm sorry. Was that I'm sorry because I may have done this? Or is it I'm sorry because I was upset during this eulogy? We may never know. But they said that it did raise alarms. A close family friend argues, though, I have known Sarah and her family since Sarah was in middle school. She and my daughter are best friends. She is very much just a child. I mean, no one online knows her background, her story, and what she's gone through. A lot of people think that Kristen and James Brock were not great parents to Sarah Grace Patrick, and that Sarah Patrick probably had a very rough upbringing. If you go through Kristen Brock's Facebook page, you'll see that Kristen's dad, so this is Sarah's maternal grandfather, is standing by her also, stating,
if they had something concrete, they would have arrested her a whole lot sooner.
And that has been a big point of contention. Again, the police keep saying they have a mountain of evidence, and this is not me advocating, stating that I believe someone is innocent or not innocent. I don't know what the police have.
Wait, so it took them 5 months to arrest her?
People think that is a lengthy amount of time. I will say that Carroll County, Georgia is a very small county. I don't know how many people are on their police force. I don't know if they have the facilities to process a lot of information and evidence quickly. I do know that the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, was also working on this case, and they are somewhat a little bit faster, I would think, than a small department like Carroll County. Some people did think it was weird that it took.
Yo, if you've gotten this far, like, comment, subscribe, share, and turn on bell notifications for upcoming videos. Link will be in the description below, right with my socials.
So long. Now here's where it gets a little bit weirder. The murder weapon was nowhere in the house. The gun was not found in the house. So that would mean that if Sarah were to be the killer, she would have shot her parents and then disposed of the gun. But what's even weirder is that's totally feasible. That could totally be something that happened, right? But nobody knows if the police even found the gun. They've been very strange about it. And I mean, sometimes police are vague for reasons. And this is a very sensitive case where it's getting viral online, and she's a minor. But they're saying we can't really comment on that.
Who? The police can comment on that?
Yeah, they're like, people are asking, have you found the murder weapon? And they're like, we can't really comment on it. So what does that mean?
Okay, wait. Yeah, what does that mean? Because do they have it? Did they put it away? Is it not found yet? Or it's just in the back rooms? The secret back rooms. It's gotta be in the back rooms.
Nobody knows what that means. Are they trying to lie because they think other people are involved? And maybe they're trying to find the owner of the gun? Maybe it has like defaced serial numbers? I don't know. Or does it mean they haven't found the gun and they don't want to admit to it because that would be like, hey, what do you mean you haven't found the gun? Another thing that people point out is if they suspected Sarah Grace Patrick of being guilty from the jump, from the get-go, which is what a lot of people think because she stated from the get-go that she did not hear gunshots and police thought it was strange. Why didn't they test her hands for gunshot residue? Maybe they did. But it's just, I think they're not really helping themselves in this case, at least online. I'm not saying in the trial. I think in the court.
Or maybe, maybe, this is theory, but maybe they didn't, see anything because, she watches true crime and, she did her research and shit. I don't know, maybe.
Court system, it's probably best if they don't reveal every information that they have. But at least on terms of online, people are weirded out. If they had tested her hands for gunshot residue the day of, if it came back positive, that would have been an arrest instantly. They also took her phone early on in the case.
Oh, okay.
So she was using her dad's phone to post on Facebook and to post on TikTok. So if they took her phone, I mean, you would imagine that teenagers are not great at covering up their crimes.
So you're saying, like, again, there's so many opportunity to arrest her very early on.
Yes, but it could also be argued. This is a county that does not deal with a lot of homicides. You're talking about a very sensitive case where a minor is going to be charged with double homicide. 2 counts of murder, and she's going to be tried as an adult. I think if they believed that she was not at flight risk, perhaps they wanted to dot their I's and cross their T's and get everything absolutely perfect before they made an arrest. However, some netizens argue that as well, saying, what do you mean? They just let her roam about for 5 months? Because if she's capable of killing her own mom and her stepdad, I mean, she's
If you want to build an app and have no idea how to code or where to start, check out Base 44.
probably at flight risk, considering she was jumping around from family home to friends' houses. She was going to a friend's house in Alabama. It seemed like she didn't have a permanent residence. She had nothing tying her to that town. And you hear a lot about teenagers that run away.
Yeah. And but you said GBI is involved in the case, or was involved?
It seems like they processed a lot of the evidence, but I don't think that they're involved in the sense of they are leading the investigation. But they are being sent evidence and they are processing it and sending results back. What that evidence is, we don't know. And again, I feel like this almost sounds like I'm advocating to maybe question her innocence. That's not what I'm doing. But also, maybe that is something I should do more because everyone is innocent until proven guilty. It's just this is the conversation that's been online. And it's been growing every single day. I would say initially when she was first arrested, everybody, it seemed, was on board with that. She's guilty. People didn't even want a trial. They're like, forget the trial. Forget innocent until proven guilty. No, she's guilty. Look at her TikToks. But now every day, every hour, it seems like there's more comments being like, wait, what's the mountain of evidence? Or new people that are coming into this case that are like, wait, I'm so confused. So they haven't even found the murder weapon.
Yeah.
What's the evidence that they have against her? So there's 2 sides to the argument. Some are saying maybe they've got no evidence. Others are saying maybe the evidence is so strong, they don't even need to tell the public about it. But Sarah's side of the family is adamant that she did not do this. And if she didn't, who did? Sarah's dad says in an interview,
Sarah knows more than most people know. The only thing that she could think of was those drug deals go wrong.
Her mother and James Brock had fallen into some drug abuse.
You know, they ripped somebody off a couple months before that. And Sarah thought that it could be that person. When I say drugs, I'm not talking about like, you know, the hardcore drugs. From what I understand, it was over weed or something like that, but a substantial amount. And she was telling the investigators that the whole time. And when we talked to the investigators, they said that they had already talked to them and said that they counted them out.
He continues, even just a week before their deaths, my son told me about an incident where a friend of theirs pulled a gun on them right before Valentine's Day.
And my son witnessed it. That's my son, and he's not just going to make stuff up like that. He brought that up to us, that the family friend that had pulled a gun on James in the kitchen, and they asked him to leave and make him go walk the dogs.
Damn.
The police have stated that there were no signs of forced entry, but the family do often sleep with their doors unlocked. However, Sarah's dad says he took a picture of the front door and he believes it looks like someone tried to break it
Why are you sleeping with your doors unlocked? That's so unsafe.
open. There is no confirmation that this is accurate, meaning we don't know when these marks could have been made. We don't know if this was from a week ago. We don't know if it was from that day. However, some people think that Sarah's biological dad doing interviews is actually making her look guiltier. At one point, he talks about James's LVAD machine, stating that it was a constant thing that always went off. He heard it go off during dinner, sometimes when they would go out to eat together. He says that it wasn't too loud. So netizens are confused because Sarah stated that she heard the LVAD machine go off, and now her dad is saying it wasn't too loud. So she could hear that, but she couldn't hear gunshots? And Sarah's dad said, speaking of gunshots, they don't have a weapon. And again, we don't know if this is just the police telling him. We don't know if this is him speculating. We don't know what the police have.
Do we know where the room locations exactly or not really?
Okay, this is another part where people thought that Sarah's side of the family was not doing her any favors. They kept saying that the house has an odd layout. I went on Zillow and the house looks like all the bedrooms are kind of in one section. And even if it's not, it's a 2,000 square foot one level house.
Okay.
But even if it weren't a one level house, like a single level residence, 2,000 square feet, you would probably hear gunshots, like I said. Again, we're not talking about a 50,000 square foot commercial building.
Yeah.
Even then, you probably could hear.
Yeah, that gunshot is weird. So the bedrooms are not in like opposite.
It doesn't appear so.
Part
I mean,
of the
there's no floor plan to the house, but James's family who have been to the house say the bedrooms are all in the same area. Like they're all in that same section. The only thing that's confusing is now some netizens are questioning whether or not the 5-year-old heard the gunshots, because if the murder weapon had not been found, it could have been a silencer on it. But if the 5-year-old heard the gunshots, then Sarah should have too. So that's where it's kind of tricky. I feel like the 5-year-old heard the gunshots. That doesn't seem like something a 5-year-old could even grasp an understanding of like gun. It's very.
I mean, I don't. I mean, gunshots are loud, but is it possible that someone can sleep through that? Is what I'm trying to imagine.
Experts are saying either A, the 5-year-old did not hear gunshots and maybe heard something else that startled her awake, and there was a silencer on the gun, or B, Sarah is lying because there's no way, unless she was drugged, unless she wasn't in the house,
Got it.
that she did not hear those gunshots.
I see. So the experts are saying you are 100% will be woken up.
Yes.
If there's 5 shots in your house.
It's kind of like I guess you could really argue it to the grave, like Jen McCabe does with a lot of her arguments in the Karen Reed case. It's like, yeah, you could be like, no, the forensic evidence doesn't know what it's talking about. But ultimately, it's like, most people are like, come on.
Got it.
There's no way.
Got it. Yep.
Unless there was a silencer. So the dad is saying, they don't have a weapon. There has been no weapon found. I mean, they searched that property for days and days and there was no weapon found. Again, we don't know if this is true. Some netizens feel sympathy for the dad. They say, I definitely understand why he's in denial. However, we need to learn to hold our children accountable. Or some people are commenting, I feel very sorry for the dad. I hope for his sake his daughter is innocent. Others are commenting, why would he let her be interrogated without an attorney? He just needs to keep quiet. He's making things worse for her. Some netizens just say, I guess I'm just going to wait to see the mountain of evidence. And so a lot of netizens have then taken to trying to figure out Sarah Patrick's motive. I do want to make a firm note here. This is a very sensitive part of the case that I was kind of struggling with the Rotten Mingo team of like, okay, do we talk about this? Because this is a big part of the conversation right now as it's developing, and I can foresee that it's probably only going to get bigger and probably bigger up until the trial or if she pleads guilty. Because we don't talk about it doesn't mean that it goes away. I do want to make a firm note though that when people search for a motive, that does not mean that they're in search for an excuse for the perpetrator, nor are they saying that any motive would justify any sort of crime, especially one as extreme as double homicide. I think the pursuit of understanding should not be mistaken for endorsement of actions. I think a lot of people sometimes confuse explanation as justification, and those two things are entirely different. Humans are sometimes wired in weird ways to want to make sense of things and actions that should not be confused again with making peace with said things. There is a quote that I get drawn to for cases like this, which is, the examined crime is not the excused crime, rather it's the one less likely to be repeated. So with that being said, do I think sometimes people like to cross that line? Yeah.
Yo, real quick. Do you guys think she did it? If you did, like the video. If you didn't, comment. I think she did it. I definitely think she did it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that perhaps with this case, that line gets crossed a few times. And I'll let you know when. But there are a lot of people trying to understand what the hell is happening. Like, if Sarah Patrick killed these two people, why? Why would she do that? It doesn't even make sense. And I think the biggest thing is Sarah Patrick was 17 years old. Even when her mom passes away, her stepfather is gone, she's kind of free. She's roaming about. There's not like one firm guardian. Even the police confirmed it. Like, she's 17. She's free to go wherever. It doesn't seem like it's this, oh, you've got 10 more years in my custody and I'm going to say, no, you can't have a boyfriend. It doesn't seem like that. It seems like she could probably just leave and not live with them. So why go to this extreme length? Was there some sort of underlying mental health condition? Was there some sort of big vendetta against them? Is this just a teenager snapping? I think a lot of people are trying to make sense of it. A family member of James's said in an interview that she does not believe that Sarah is innocent. So it seems like Sarah's side of the family believes she is innocent, including Kristen's dad.
Sarah's grandpa.
Yes, the deceased father. He's
believes that she's innocent
yes,
as well. Wow.
Yes. Now, James Brock, they have no blood ties. This is his stepdaughter.
Yeah.
They believe that Sarah is guilty. And a lot of people believe that Sarah is guilty. They say, first of all, how did she not hear the gunshots? It just doesn't make any sense. The family also states, I mean, Sarah's side of the family is going around town telling everybody that the house had a weird layout, but no, it didn't. That's not true at all. All of the bedrooms were close together. It's a rather small house. She says, quote, I'm not out here with a measuring tape, but if I were to guess, between the doorway to the parents' room and Sarah's room, maybe 8 feet. She also
Cut through the clutter and stand out on the #1 platform people use to make informed purchase decisions. Tap into new audiences that aren't tapped out and that can't be found anywhere else. Reach them today with Reddit ads.
She also says that she's not going to name names, but I quote, I can say that multiple members of Sarah's family have come to us privately and said that Sarah was involved. That's a lot to me. That says a lot to me because if you're going out on that kind of limb, and I will say that James's niece seems very honest. Her name is also Kristen, so it gets a little confusing, but she just strikes me as someone that's not trying to just put all the blame on Sarah because it seems like the best way to grieve. It seems like she genuinely wants answers and they've led her to this path. And it seems like she probably knows a lot more than the internet does. But she states, you know, every time I was around Sarah, she's very sweet. It's not like she's this crazy teenager that she's like, oh, she's so crazy. She's weird. She's losing it. She's very sweet. She was very open to talk to whoever was around. She struck me as a sweet girl. She did. But I didn't live in that home with her. And so James had said multiple times that you don't know the real Sarah. He didn't go into detail because, to be honest, when he would tell my mom that, she'd be like, oh, James, you never raised a teenage girl before. And you're not supposed to think anything more of that.
But he said multiple times, she's not the sweet Sarah that you guys see. She's not who she puts online. You don't know the real her.
And then the eulogy at the funeral was so strange. She adds, there were tears everywhere at that funeral. Everybody couldn't get through their speech. My mom needed a friend up there with her just to get through it. And I think it's weird that Sarah, after losing her mom, gets up there in her dress, did this big long speech, and didn't ever shed a tear. Didn't ever stop to gather herself. I think it was very weird. At the funeral, it was just kind of like a big wow. She says, I don't think at the time any of us had a solid theory. We didn't think it was possible that she acted alone, and I still don't believe that she did because it just seems odd that she would be the one to pull the trigger.
Interesting. So they believe that there's another person.
Yes. And a lot of people believe that, and they think that is maybe why the police have been very vague about everything regarding this investigation. So let's go into people's theories of the motive. Again, motive is an explanation to actions, not a justification to actions, especially in this situation where it seems like Sarah does have other family members. She's 17. It seems like she was able to walk out of this house if she wanted to. It does not seem to be a self-defense. Like, this is not that. So there's really no justifying, but these are the theories online. The first is, this is the main one, that she wanted to be TikTok famous. There were pictures of her previously before the crimes happened where she is lip syncing to songs and there is like an Oxygen true crime documentary playing in the back. People have taken this.
Bro, what did I say, bro? What did I fucking say? What did I say, bro? Bro, I just said earlier in the video, she is probably true crime fan and chewing this shit for clout.
To say that she was someone that was obsessed with true crime and she wanted to become the grieving daughter and to gain attention, sympathy, love, and adoration through the internet through that way. She was using her dad's phone because her phone was confiscated.
Bro, hop in, lock in. Hop in, lock in.
She was promoting her TikTok page on her dad's Facebook. She was posting on her dad's Facebook. And it's very interesting because I will say that James Brock's side of the family, when they were posting, it was very much like, spread the word, $5,000 reward, spread the word, spread the word. Sarah would say, yes, we need to talk about it. But a lot of it were trends, trending audios, TikTok sounds, crying, just a little bit more of that side versus like, can we please talk about it? Can we please raise awareness? Can we please talk about this case? So a lot of people have felt that is part of maybe her motive of trying to become TikTok famous. The fact that she's reaching out to TikTok content creators to ask them to cover her case is also another supplemental piece of evidence that people have for believing this motive.
As you can see, she reached out to me back in May.
She messaged me back on June 3rd and just said, search up Brock case.
She would also post things like, we need lots of shares because this case can't be forgotten about. But at the same time, I don't want to make too much noise on social media because I don't want to scare this person off. People thought that was just kind of a weird phrase. And so that's a big chunk of people. They think that she did this because she wanted to get TikTok famous. And maybe she just did not like her parents. Because I don't think you could do that just to get TikTok. I don't know.
Yeah.
One netizen comments, I don't know, it's twisted, but I don't get the vibe that she was getting such satisfaction out of fooling people. I think she took comfort in getting all the emotional support that she might have lacked, maybe from everywhere else. Of course, she had to play it off online, but I mean, she did sure go out of her way to get attention, which is really fucked up. So I think even as people are commenting, they're kind of confused. They're like, at the same time, she didn't need to post so many trending audios nonstop to try and get views. But at the same time, I don't know if that's the motive. Like, that's what netizens are saying. Other netizens are saying, do you think that her posting on TikTok was her trying to confess to the crime? And this goes into the psychology where a lot of people say that killers sometimes want to get caught. A lot of people say that serial killers want to get caught because they want the notoriety and they want to be recognized for their crimes. Other people say that when it's...
Bro, I said the same thing earlier in this video, bro. If you got to this far, like, comment, subscribe, share, all the good things. Oh my god. Upcoming.
Killers that are not complete serial killers, where they do feel some guilt and remorse. They kind of do these subconscious things in an effort to get caught. It's like, people say it's like the lottery effect. When people win the lottery, they almost subconsciously, maybe, feel like they don't deserve the money or they didn't earn the money, so they'll blow through the money. It's kind of, I don't know, some people are saying that. They're saying it doesn't make sense that you would reach out to content creators to cover your case, to get more attention on your case, if you're getting away with it. They're saying it just doesn't make sense. And that's why people are saying, no, but it's not about getting away with it. It's about getting TikTok famous. So that's been a huge back and forth. I will say one quick reminder, though, is one netizen comment reads, she let her little sister find her parents' bodies. I don't think it really matters if she felt any remorse. If she did this, like, she let her little sister find her parents' bodies. That's crazy. Then comes the second theory.
Oh, wait, dog. I totally forgot about that, bro. But, bro, imagine being a 5-year-old and, like, fighting your parents dead, bro. Like, that's trauma right there. That's horrible.
Theory. And this is where I think things get a little bit tricky. There are a lot of people that have resorted to, I would say a good chunk of people are internet sleuthing. They're going online, they're digging into old Facebook posts, they're going onto Instagram accounts and just trying to put some puzzle pieces together for their own understanding of this crime. And then there are people who are straight up victim blaming. She and James Brock officially start dating in 2018, or at least on Facebook, and people are commenting, a new man, good for you. And she's responding, a keeper, finally. New to the public eye, but already in mine and the kids' hearts. Love after divorce is possible, heart emoji. So it seems like things are going well, up until September 20th, 2022. So this is 2 years and 3 months before the crime. Kristen posts on Facebook a very cryptic message, and it's to the point, but somehow cryptic, and it has underlying messages, and it just reads, yeah, this hurts me, but it's gonna hurt her more. And she's talking about their 5-year-old daughter. Again, let's call her Bella. Please pray for us and our safety. Please let me know if you see James Brock so you can warn me. He is trying to kill me, has been trying to get to the house and to the child. Man, wasted tears, now huge fears.
Wait, what's going on?
So she's posting to her Facebook friends that her little 5-year-old daughter is going to be heartbroken because it appears that her and James are no longer going to be together. And she tells her Facebook friends, hey, if you see James Brock, you have to let me know because he's trying to kill me.
Okay.
So on that post, one netizen comments, and this is new.
Okay, now it feels like foreshadowing. Because what if he killed her, then killed himself? But then again, like, how would you be able to put like 5? You know,
They're saying, sad, this is learned behavior. There's a lot more to this story, and I hope it's all put out there. So there's this argument of, can these posts be used with online discourse to talk about maybe why Sarah Patrick committed these crimes, or is it too soon because nothing has been confirmed, although these are from Kristen Brock's Facebook page? I will say, I do think that a lot of the attention is more so on Kristen Brock because that is Sarah Grace's biological mom. And she does have a lot of Facebook posts talking about her relationship with James. And it seems like a lot of, she was also arrested for child cruelty. We're going to get there. But it seems like she was, from a lot of people's accounts, she was sometimes a little volatile. Even from these posts where she is talking about James trying to kill her, James is very calm anytime he interacts with her on Facebook, and she accuses him of trying to kill her. She accuses him of completely leaving the kid, never calling their 5-year-old, not being a dad that's around, missing all of her birthdays, and doing like sleeping with her best friend. And every time James responds to these Facebook posts, he's very calm and he's saying, hey, can you please stop lying about me? Can you just tell everyone that you're the one that had my phone cut off and that's why I can't call her goodnight? People have been using Kristen Brock's Facebook post to try and get people to understand maybe why Sarah Patrick committed these crimes, saying this is not a healthy home life. We don't know what else was going on inside the home, but it probably is not the best environment for children. If she's posting that her partner, her child's stepfather, and the father of a little toddler is trying to kill her on Facebook, it seems very tumultuous. Like, if that's really what you would think, then you should go to the police. You should do these things to protect your children, if that's truly what you believe is going to happen. I think that initially when people heard about this case, there was such a strong rhetoric of this is a spoiled teenage brat who's obsessed with looking a certain way and using TikTok filters and being TikTok famous. She's a narcissistic sociopath. Like, these are the words that people were using to describe her. And I think the minute that some of this came onto Reddit and came onto people's attention, I think because the wording was so strong against Sarah Grace, people started pushing back even harder, saying like, well, maybe she's not narcissistic. Maybe her home life was horrendous. So it's just been very strange. But one netizen comments, here we go with the excuses. She's a cold-blooded killer with no emotions who left her parents dead and allowed her baby sister to find them. To which someone comments back, but there was abuse in the home, so stop assuming she's just a killer. With another person commenting, that never gives anyone an excuse to take someone else's life. But just from doing some scrolling, you can tell this girl had a hard home life for quite some years. After putting your children through all this drama of your past relationships, posting on Facebook that you're going to get killed by him, etc., your child more than likely has witnessed your relationship and has trauma from it. If you're in a toxic relationship like this, you need to put your kids first. You shouldn't run back to that relationship every chance you get. Lord only knows what these children have witnessed daily for years. There's another post from Kristen's Facebook page, and it reads, hey, me and James are not together, not even friends. I don't really know him at all. I'm ashamed and hurt and embarrassed. Never again will you bring filth into my life. You play people like a fiddle, just not me anymore. Karma will be your king, King Brock, LMAO.
Roommates or room with a view?
Ooh, room with a view.
On a date.
And a lot of the Facebook posts do indicate that maybe she had a complicated relationship with James Brock. So on the same day, she would post quotes like, stop chasing after people and being the only one trying to fix everything. It's mentally and physically exhausting. You have to find peace with whoever comes and goes from your life. Don't be the only one putting an effort because you will end up losing yourself trying to save everyone else. And then the same day she'd post, and just like that, voila. Thank you, Lord, for opening my eyes and showing me what I need to see. And then the same day, she posts another one that says, I instantly smile when I see a text from you. I don't even care what's in it. It's just amazing to know I crossed your mind for a second.
And this is all about James, clearly.
Seems like it. Okay. So overall, at least in 2022, their relationship was probably on rocky footing. She also posted asking her friends, how do I change my name on here? It's set to Kristen Brock using James's last name. And she's like, anybody, please? To which a stranger is commenting like, you need to make a new account. And she's responding to the stranger, I hate him now. I'm sorry. He has hurt us for the last time. I know he don't give two craps. In another post, she shares a quote that reads, "Humble enough to know I'm replaceable, cocky enough to know it's a downgrade." And then she comments on that, "James doesn't call, and call our 5-year-old, and I'm about to go to bed. Once I wake up, it's GNU, everything." I don't know what that means. "I can't let this little girl's heart be broke by him ever again." To which James responds, writing, "Be sure you tell everyone you had my phone cut off." Around this time, in another random comment thread, Kristen tells a friend in the public section of her Facebook page, quote, "Now, I don't know because I caught him with my best friend this morning." Then in another thread, she's talking to James and she says,
Wait. Doesn't this dude have like a heart valve thing? What are you doing? Sleeping around. If that's what you're doing.
"You really are a bitch for not calling our daughter." Then another comment, she writes, "Just another gay J now. Go fuck in someone else's yard, you dopehead." James comments back, retaliating, "You know what? You can stop lying to everyone and start telling the truth. You're a fucking joke. Message me and then block me after I message you and then telling lies. You had my phone cut off so I couldn't call and block, and then now you're texting. And you're the dopehead that hasn't been asleep. Game on, Kristen. I will do the same shit to you. Tired of the abuse from you." So this is what James is responding. In addition, a few days after all of that, on September 26, 2022, Kristen posts an address onto Facebook with just the words, "Party over here." Someone comments, "No one's going to show up to a party at 4 a.m. on Sunday." Kristen responds, "LMAO crying emoji. You're right. Heads are more 2 a.m.ers." Which she does state as a joke. However, it has been discussed online, and there have been discussions that Kristen was at one point involved with amphetamines. But it seemed like she was trying to get clean recently, and she started going to church, and it seemed like she was trying to start a new chapter of her life. Now, Sarah claims that maybe that new chapter wasn't as long ago as people are saying, because she told her dad and the investigators that there was a drug deal gone wrong a month prior to their murders. I don't know how accurate that is. That's coming from Sarah Patrick. However, James comments on that post about the party. "Damn, you know what lives over there? Dopehead with child cruelty charges to my daughter and your son." In 2022, Kristen was arrested with child cruelty charges in the 3rd degree, which means that you are letting a child witness felonies. That's basically what it means. It appears from all accounts that I could find online that James was inside of a barn. Kristen was very upset with him. She had their daughter in the back seat and her son. So this is James's stepson. This is Sarah Patrick's full brother. Sarah's not here at the barn, but he's standing, I guess, outside, and she's trying to run into James with her car, allegedly. And because her daughter was in the back seat and her son witnessed this, it would be cruelty to children in the 3rd degree.
Huh, interesting. So James called the cops.
Yes.
And they came and they charged her with that.
Yes. However, it seems like nothing really crazy came of the case. She did tell her parents that it's just a big misunderstanding, like James is lying to the police. And that's not what happened. James also accuses Kristen of saying things to her son, such as, quote, "You told your son he wasn't your son, he was just a snitch. Miss child cruelty charges in 3rd degree to our daughter and your son." A lot of netizens have found these posts and they have a lot to say about it. I think that it's really interesting that both sides of how they feel don't seem like they can convince the other side. And maybe it has a lot to do with just how we're wired. And maybe some people have more trauma or specific life experiences that have specific views that they cannot change. And I don't think that's necessarily the worst thing, but the people that think that this has no relation to the case, they think it's actually inappropriate to even talk about it because they're like, these are victims in this case. Nothing justifies murder at all. Like, this is a spoiled teenage girl that could have left and she killed them and let the 5-year-old daughter find them. There's no excuse, and the fact that people even think that this is an explanation of anything is bad. And then you have the other side of people that are saying, it's actually not bad when you think about children and the way that trauma develops in their brain. If there is evidence of any sort of trauma or any sort of abuse in the house, that could be a good way to understand why she did what she allegedly did and is accused of doing by the police. It seems like they cannot convince the other party to think the way that they think. A lot of people are actually finding these posts and tagging the Carleton Police Department in it.
Interesting.
And one netizen comments, no child can grow up normal in that kind of environment. And even if the parents changed and found Jesus, she lived more of her life around that lifestyle than not. And they're saying to not talk about it is also weird. To not talk about it is acting like it doesn't exist. Then what? We just act like it doesn't exist and then more things happen like this? So they're saying, again, it's not justification. It's not proof of anything. It's just saying this could have been something. But probably the most talked about Facebook post comes from June 20th of 2021, where on a separate Facebook page, Kristen posts, "My son's name. I'm coming to get you, love. I know you're so unhappy there. I hear you and I'm doing everything I can to make it happen. I promise you that, son. Your father can't beat you anymore." So Kristen is saying, hey, your biological dad is beating you, so I'm going to come pick you up and I will never let him beat you.
Mm-hmm.
And she's posting, talking about her son on her son's page.
Okay.
Sarah comments on that. And she responds, "Kristen, you are a grown woman and this is the child that you put through the dirt just to make yourself happy. Commenting on this post and posting this is never going to make me want to go to your house again and shows how immature you are. Respectfully, grow up." Then another one from Sarah to her mother, this time in all caps, reads, "The only one that beat us was the ex-stepdad you got with and had no time to realize it because you were out there dealing. Daddy has never laid a hand on me and you need to stop brainwashing my brother and it doesn't work anymore with me."
Wait, this is 2021?
Yes.
So she was like 13 years old?
Yeah.
She's saying that who beats them? The only person? James? Or
She
someone
said
else?
ex-stepdad, and it does seem like they were on and off. A lot of netizens believe that she's referring to James. It doesn't appear that there are any other yes, that would have been referred to as ex-stepdad. But again, these are just Sarah's words.
Yeah.
It's not proof of anything. And I think he's not here to defend himself. She didn't even name him by name. We don't even know if she's talking about James Brock.
Right.
But it just shows that she does have a very contentious relationship with her mother, at least at this point. And there seems to be some trouble in the household. Again, it doesn't justify anything. Kristen responds, "Maybe you need to call me because we need some therapy for real. Sad this is the only way you talk to your mom." Court documents also reveal that Sarah's biological dad, when they get a divorce, Sarah's dad states that Kristen, quote, "The mother has unrehabilitated substance abuse issues and both she and her boyfriend," referring to James Brock, "fail to adequately provide a suitable drug-free environment for minor children."
Let's be real, learning goes way beyond the classroom. At Florida Virtual School, there's no classroom required to earn.
Sarah's biological dad is accusing Kristen of exposing the children to weed and meth. The motion in the custody battle court docs allege that Kristen would let her friends come over when they were high on meth. And the filing includes this allegation, quote, "As a result of the mother's drug usage and the mother's boyfriend disciplining the minor son with a belt that left a visible injury, the Department of Family and Children's Services got involved. He claims that DFACS, which is like CPS in Georgia, gets involved, but the couple quietly moves from one county to another without alerting DFACS. So then DFACS, they just kind of give up on the case because their workload is too high." Sarah's dad alleges that Kristen would have, quote, "spiraling behaviors that would make it, quote, extremely unsafe for her to have the children in any unsupervised manner." According to the court document, Sarah allegedly told her teacher that she knew that her mom had drugs in the house and she didn't want to go back to living with her mom. This is when she's like 11. The court doc reads, "The minor daughter is able to express whether her mother hides the illegal drugs in the house, like where, what the drugs look like in the packaging, and the foul odor of the." Sarah's biological dad alleges that during one incident, Sarah was in the car with her brother and Kristen and James, along with some random adults that are friends with Kristen, in which Sarah had to, quote, "forced to put a blanket over her face to avoid having vomit slung at her." I guess one of the friends was high and drunk and was vomiting everywhere. And he also alleges that Kristen would get super drunk and just send drunk videos to family members and friends. But like most custody battles, I think the dirt was slung both ways. Kristen would also allege the biological father of being drunk when he was taking care of his kids. But ultimately, in March of 2020, it was ordered that the two would split custody 50-50. That's when Sarah is 11. Kristen's dad is saying, yes, they had a rough life. They had a lot of past histories and transgressions that were not great, but they learned from it and they were turning a new leaf. They were going to the church in Carlton. They were getting their life together. And then this happened. But in 2022, James filed a temporary protection order against Kristen, claiming that he was terrified of his own wife. He was terrified for his own safety and for their youngest daughter. He claims that he was inside of a barn when Kristen tried to run him over. Side note, Kristen's dad will later state that this is not true, remember? But in that filing, he claims that in 2022, Kristen was abusing prescription medication. He also accuses of her abuse during the relationship, stating that she was hitting him, destroying his property, and had even threatened to kill him. And I think this is where, I think you guys are smart. You guys always do your own research. If you were to go out there and start Googling this case, these are the types of discourse that you would come across, and I feel like you would come to your own conclusion. But I think it's very interesting of the question of, are these things that should be in the discourse of these types of conversations around this case? For example, James's family, they don't really think so. They say everybody has a past. It's not every day that your posts from Facebook get brought up for the world to see from 5 years ago, 8 years ago. It doesn't matter. That's not a normal thing that happens. Everyone has fights on the internet or whatever. But as far as the case goes, that has nothing to do with the case as far as we're concerned, because we're confident that the investigators have looked at every avenue. They know their past. They know everything. So she's saying it's kind of like muddying the waters when it doesn't really have a connection with the case. But others, on the other hand, are saying, but it does, because if that's the house that Sarah's living in, then it can kind of explain why she might have had a motive. So it's just been interesting. I will say that a lot of people have spoken highly of the couple. In particular, a lot of people have spoken very highly of James. He had multiple different heart surgeries, including the one to get the LVAD attached to him, which, by the way, would indicate that he's probably clean. Because if you're awaiting a heart transplant, they do a lot of tests, like a lot of toxicology screenings. If it's showing that you have any sort of illegal substance in you, you're going to be inactive on the wait list for a heart transplant. They're not going to give you a heart transplant. They're just not. So it wouldn't make sense. And then with all of his heart conditions, I highly doubt that he was partaking in any substance abuse at this point. But he seemed like a really kind soul, is what a lot of people say. There is this voicemail of him, and this is right before he goes into heart surgery. He's calling his niece, and he leaves a voicemail, and he's like, you know that movie Ted?
I know you've probably seen that movie Ted with Mark Wahlberg, the teddy bear. And at the end of it, he gets ripped apart. And they sew him back together, and then they pray for him to be, alive again. And in the morning when he wakes up and he talks to him, he's like, I just want to tell you that I love you for something. That way, in case I wake up after the surgery and I can't talk to them, going, you already know what I'm trying to say. I love you, girl.
And he's like comforting her before he goes into open heart surgery. And it just seems very complicated. One netizen comment reads, the history does matter. Murder is never okay, but sometimes history does matter. Which brings me to where I do think people are maybe crossing the line. I think up until this point, the arrest, the child cruelty charges, I feel like those are things that people are having some appropriate discussions about. One of the trickier things about this case is there is a photo that is circulating on the internet, and if you just Google this case, go on one Reddit forum, you're probably going to click a few links and get there. And it is of James at the hospital where he is taking a family picture with all of them, and he has his hand around Sarah Patrick's waist. And it appears, we don't know, but it appears that it's resting near her bottom, like near her butt. Mm-hmm. Like his hand is resting on her butt. This could be a photoshopped image. This could be, it's not like 100% verified. It's not, and also, I think people have very polarizing views about this picture. When some people first look at this picture, they say, nope, I'm done. I think there's abuse in that house, and you cannot convince me otherwise. And then there are other people that say, we know nothing. In fact, this is such a reach. So some people who are saying this is a reach says, look clearly, this is Emory Hospital in Atlanta. He's in hospital socks. He's in a wheelchair. He probably is drugged out of his mind on sedatives. He's probably gone through surgery. He's taken a picture, put his arms around his family. He probably doesn't even know what his hand is resting on. Like this, he's not thinking right now. He's just taking a picture because his family came to visit him. They're saying he literally is in so much pain and probably on so much sedatives that he can't even be creepy. Like your brain just can't do that in that type of situation. So they're saying like it's actually a disgusting reach for people to post this picture and act like there's something sinister going on in this house and talking about him as if he's some sexually abusive stepfather without having any evidence. In fact, one of Sarah's family friends stated that Sarah told her straight up that there was no sexual abuse. Like he would never. But others are arguing, yeah, but a lot of people don't admit to abuse. Some people are just saying, hey, if he can't lift his arm more than where her butt is, don't put your arm around them at all. Some people are saying, well, it looks like his hand is hovering. Some people are arguing, well, it doesn't really matter. It's just weird. This is a teenage girl and you're the stepfather. Some people are saying it's very different per house. Like a lot of people have different barriers and boundaries for personal space. Like I think some families are a lot more expressive with their physical affection for each other, like kissing each other on the cheek. My family is like a strict side hug family just because we love our personal space all the time. Like it just really depends on the people. Others are saying, no, as a single parent, I would never let my husband touch my daughter like that. But it is interesting. Some netizens are commenting about this picture. I mean, seriously, why are so many people almost desperately hoping that her stepfather abused her? Others are commenting, the fact that so many people are trying to make this seem like an innocent mistake of brushing it off because he just had surgery or etc. is absolutely crazy. He had his hand on that child's ass and there's no excuse for that. Others argue this is a disgusting reach. And then people are commenting back, yeah, because he's reaching for her butt. And it just feels like, again, this is not a situation where either side is going to convince another person to see it their way. It's just been a lot of people's personal stories and experiences injected into this case.
Yeah. Do we know trial dates, anything?
I think she has a bond hearing later this month. To see if she's going to get out on bail. James's.
What is TubeBuddy? Let's break it down fast. TubeBuddy is used by over 14 million creators to optimize, grow, and manage their YouTube channels. It's a browser extension designed to save you time, get you views, and supercharge your content.
James's niece has spoken for the Brock family against these internet speculations. And she says, well, not about this one specifically, but just in general of all of them. And she says, I think that people need to be really cautious about what they say because they don't know. Digging up stuff from, some of this stuff, I'm not even sure where people get it from. I'm like, I knew them. I talk to them all the time. I'm friends with them on social media. Where in the world did you even get this? But they have children. They have children that are watching, grown children. James has grandchildren. This is the stuff that they're going to see. And it may turn out that none of that's true. So why put that out there forever? So the other stuff really is not necessary until we know more. And I'm confident that there's a lot more to know. Which one netizen agrees, saying, oh, good Lord, the victim